Okay, here we go. We're live on all 3 platforms. Like I said, this is Ethan. We do a great podcast. And if anything's in your way, man, you can just move it out the way.
Cool.
But, okay. Okay, name, age, and where you're from.
Alright, so my name's Ethan. I'm 31 years old, and I'm originally from Murray, Utah, and Salt Lake City Valley, and then Idaho, now Kansas.
Okay. And what brought you to Kansas?
So, it's pretty interesting. Basically, a lot of bad decisions. Literally running from the law is what brought me to Kansas. You inherit a lot of things from your family. One of those I got is alcoholism.
Okay.
So basically, long story short, we could talk about the details more if you like, but
I want to talk about whatever you want to talk about, man. Whatever you're open to talk about, we're going to talk about it all.
Yeah, long story short with that, I, couldn't stop drinking on probation after I got a DUI, and I had a friend out here who said I could come. I literally ran out on probation with an active warrant.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what brought me to Kansas.
Okay.
But my life changed pretty radically after that, so it's been... Yeah.
And how long were you on probation for?
So, let's see. In 2013, I got a DUI, and this was after a long time of heavy drinking and a lot of irresponsibility. You know, just all over the place. And so I was on there, I got arrested in 2013.
Yeah.
I was on probation for a year, which would have been shorter, but I couldn't pass the drug and alcohol tests when I would go check in with my probation officer. So
yeah,
after a year, I left.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think was what caused you to use drugs and alcohol and all that stuff?
Well, I guess I'll start kind of a little rundown of me and what happened with that. So
that camera right there is bothering me.
no problem.
No, you can keep talking though, no. But.
Yeah, I guess so I grew up middle class, right?
Yeah.
In the suburbs of Salt Lake in the Salt Lake Valley. Felt very Leave It to Beaver, I was always one of those kids, like I had some anxiety, depression issues, but like I didn't, things were fine, right?
Okay.
Middle class upbringing, nice school, at least I thought. I don't know, I was a kid. I don't know if things were good or not. They seemed good. But when I was 13, we moved to Idaho, and I had never, moved away. This is my first house. I was already an anxious kid, and at that same time when we moved to Idaho, my dad started drinking again.
Oh, wow.
And the thing was, when I was growing up the whole time, I didn't know anything about my dad or his alcoholism like that.
Yeah.
I didn't notice he didn't drink with my uncles and stuff like that,
Wow.
And he never talked about it. But apparently he'd been sober for like 17 years, right?
Wow.
So he starts drinking again at this time, and I'm a kid. I don't know what's going on. I didn't know at the time my parents' marriage was falling apart.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a one-day 180. Like my dad was my hero.
Yeah.
Outstanding kind of guy, and all of a sudden he's just drinking, passing out every night in the garage, like getting verbally abusive, just like it felt overnight.
Like with you or with
just the family?
Mom? Oh, with everybody. Oh, wow.
Yeah, with everybody.
Wow.
And just like absent, couldn't keep jobs, or like, we had gone up to Idaho for an opportunity for him, which he wasted, and so it ended up cascading into like years and years of this. They finally got divorced when I was 18. But
do you think they carried it on until you became an adult, or?
No,
okay.
They tried. I mean, they were. I was raised in the church.
Yeah.
My mom's a good Christian lady, and she didn't want to divorce my father, but it became untenable.
Do you blame her?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm no longer a guy. Basically, that whole experience, and when I started drinking, I radically changed all of my beliefs. I
Yeah.
was someone who was once I was a good Christian boy as well.
Yeah.
I had, vowed to never do drinking, drugs, and anything
Yeah.
like that. But I don't know. It's just like anyone else's story. I started hanging out with some dudes.
Yeah.
Some guys I'm still friends with today.
Yeah.
And started drinking, and it just kind of all went out from there.
So like it just came like, was it like when you started hanging out with these guys, was it like an intentional thing of, oh, I want to start getting fucked up, or was it just like all innocent fun at first? Like you didn't think that it was spiral out of control? Was it just okay?
Yeah. I thought it was innocent.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, for a long time, like when you get rolling in addiction, you feel like your life is better.
Oh.
Right. I mean, it seemed like it was to me.
Yeah.
I went from being a shy,
Yeah.
couldn't like talk to girls, I couldn't go to parties. All of a sudden, like,
Yeah.
I'm at every party. I got a long-term girlfriend.
Yeah.
I'm like seeing all these people. It's like I felt like my life. I felt like I had made it.
Yeah.
So like,
it kind of like from you being like quote unquote that nice Christian kid, and it's like, damn, they kept me away from all this fun, and like this is fun. Like they said that this was bad, but
yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, and I don't want to disparage Christianity
Oh,
as
yeah.
a whole. There's
Yeah.
so many different Christian beliefs.
Yeah.
The churches I was leaving were kind of tended to be on the more hateful kind of side,
Oh, wow.
and the more political kind of
Yeah.
side too, as well. The it's kind of like the kind of places you think of when it's like when churches get on the news for the wrong reasons.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
A lot of hate speech and anger and lots of fire and brimstone and stuff like
Oh,
that.
okay. So like, you being in Idaho, is Christianity big out there? Like,
So it's funny, Mormonism is
Mormon?
the big
Okay.
one. Yeah, I was growing up in Utah and Idaho. I was always, odd man out as far as religion went. Because even as a Christian in Utah,
yeah.
in the suburbs, everyone's Mormon.
Oh.
And they all go to wards. That's
Yeah.
where, and so, yeah, it's the same with Pokey. And there's definitely Christian communities. This is, they're definitely out there. But Mormonism is the big one.
So what religious background would you say you are now? Are you still considered Christian, or?
I would say that I am just loosely spiritual.
Oh,
I believe there is some
Yeah.
there's some being.
Yeah.
I believe there is some kind of existence outside of just this present
Yeah.
reality.
I definitely agree with you on that, because I've been going to church lately, but I'm still open about it, because I just can't fall. Right now, I have to be heavily convinced that one religion trumps them all.
Yeah.
Like right now, I definitely believe in spiritualism. I believe in the power of the mind, the power of us, and we're all here for a divine purpose. But I feel like everybody I know from different religious backgrounds, they'll tell you that their religion is right. So
Yeah.
it's like, how can I decipher that? So right now, just being spiritual and open-minded is probably the best thing. I don't want to be judgmental, because I don't know for sure which religion is the right religion, So yeah, man. But so basically, you basically went into the next question I was going to ask you, what your childhood was like growing up, and it seems like with your father, that basically is the main thing that kind of had like a different outbringing. Basically, man, like if you line everything up, like the difficulties and the challenges that your father had in Idaho, do you think that's kind of what got you to Kansas, basically, right? Like,
Basically.
do you think you would still be in Idaho if your dad didn't like go back into his like negative habits? And...
It's so bizarre thinking about it, what could have happened.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know what causes alcoholism, but most likely, it's most likely genetic, right? I probably have a disposition for it. So even if he had never gone back to it, who's to say that I wouldn't start partying on my own?
Yeah.
Because I will say this, a lot of people, they frame themselves like I went in with the wrong crowd.
Yeah.
I just became the wrong crowd.
Yeah.
My friends and stuff, they would drink and all that stuff with me. But
Yeah.
I was never like the one being like pulled along. I got to take like the responsibility there and say like, this was me, And it's the same with my dad, As much as we like to use like the Freudian, it's all about the parents.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I got my own disposition.
Yeah, it plays a part, but
Yeah.
it's all about your decisions ultimately. with that being said, man, when you said with your friends, do you think that they had the same challenges that you did, or was it just not talked about when it came to stuff like that?
It's kind of interesting because before, you know, I had a very insular kind of friend group, you know.
Yeah.
I guess I would say like it's kind of weird looking at how much like class plays a role in things nowadays.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a very middle class, straight-laced, conservative religious environment.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of stuff that isn't talked about, a lot of faces and stuff you have to put on for people, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the friends I started hanging out with weren't necessarily of that background. You know, usually like either from poverty background or similar but same kind of ideas. So, you know, it felt pretty relieving to be able to like let my guard down and be myself with other people.
So I know, with that being said, like classism and backgrounds and all that stuff, like I know we talked about this briefly at the barber shop, but when it comes to Utah and Idaho, I know that you said it's not very diverse culturally.
Yeah.
So like, basically with everybody that probably, you know, looks like you or is majority white out there, it basically is classism there, right? Like it wouldn't, like, you got your rich whites, you got your poor whites, you got your middle class and all that stuff, like, so.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that. I will say that, like, so when you grow up in like the bigger city, right, the class is there's more diversity. Back then there wasn't. Salt Lake has become a lot more diverse since back then.
Well, I heard a lot of people from California are actually moving to Utah. So.
Yeah, they are. And same with Idaho.
Okay,
so
wow.
It's getting there. Yeah. And so, I don't know, class is a weird one. I guess I never felt like discriminated against. I guess it's just like when you start actually interacting with people of other classes, right? Where you realize, like, maybe not even realize, but maybe like, I can't even think of the word, subconsciously, like, understand different things. You can be more comfortable, start seeing that people live a different way.
Yeah.
You know? I think my very insular environment gave me an idea that like my worldview was the obvious correct one, right? And like challenging it was like almost seen as ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know? So it took a long time to like actually be exposed to other ideas.
So kind of like I wouldn't say like closed-minded like in a negative way, but just kind of you don't know until you actually go out there and, you know, see it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I like the fact that you brought up, you know, you might be genetically dispositioned to be to, you know, alcoholism, and I know that when you talk about your dad, it reminds me a lot of my mom, because my mom's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So really, she's been an alcoholic as long as I can remember. And I know that she says like alcoholism runs in the family, but the more spiritual and like the more like deeply thoughtful I become, like I just think about like, what if it's that term that like kind of like curses us, you know?
Yeah.
Because like if you're told your whole life you're never gonna be anything, you're never gonna amount to anything, you're probably gonna believe that, you know? Because so I wonder if the term, hey, alcoholism runs in my family, I wonder if that kind of makes it like okay, no matter what, I know I'm gonna like my parents have done it, so I know that I'm gonna be an alcoholic. Because I know that's one thing. Like with my mom, she always said that my grandma supposedly passed away from being an alcoholic, but I used to drink for a little bit, but mainly out of fun.
Yeah.
But like I never wanted to end up being the way my mom was. But I think that my mom being an alcoholic, even though I've tried to help her, I think seeing her result is what shied me away from drinking. Yeah. Because I knew how I would end up if I kept drinking the way I was drinking, you know, partying every weekend. But it wasn't like I was like. It was weird because I was doing it more out of fun, but then I've seen a lot of people start off doing things that's fun and it becomes a habit, then they become an addict, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I don't know. It's a very nuanced because on the one hand, right, I, like being honest with myself, I've always been predispositioned to addictive behaviors, right? When I was real young, it was food, right? Before I got into drugs and alcohol, I felt like I was constantly trying to eat. My mom was putting me on diets and I'd like do anything I could to like just eat, you know.
So were you a fat kid? Is that what you said?
I was a fat kid. Okay. Yeah, I was a fat kid. It didn't help with my self-esteem and all that.
Yeah.
You know, and then basically drugs and alcohol replaced the food. right? Like, I didn't really care as much about food. I lost a ton of weight because that was my new thing.
Yeah.
So I guess my point with there is like, one, like, yeah, I mean, maybe I am. But two, what you say about like the intentions and the words.
Yeah.
I mean, first off, my brother and sister, both of them couldn't be alcoholics if they tried. You know, like they're just not that way.
Are they younger than you?
My sister's older, my brother's younger.
Okay.
And again, like with my family, like me and my dad, as far as like living relatives, are the only like alcoholics, right? So
and your dad's still alive?
He is alive.
Okay.
Surprisingly, very surprisingly, he's still alive.
So I'm guessing, I'm assuming he still drinks?
Off and on, you know.
Okay.
He does like, he'll do a bender a year, usually. Just enough to destroy his life. That's usually what he does.
So like before, and I mean, I don't know if you can remember, but like before he became like an alcoholic, like what was his career path? And was he like what do you think, what caused him to start drinking? Like, cause it seems like everything happened after y'all moved to Idaho.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering like what his career was and like what could have like started back to being having a bad habit or whatnot.
You know, I don't even know. I think about these things where, like, what does motivate people?
Yeah.
Because I even, like, with me, like, to draw straight lines to, like, this caused this. But, you know, I mean, it can be a variety of things. One, I think, like, there's just the natural social pressures, right? My dad didn't have a solid career. He was very indecisive. He went to college a lot and couldn't decide what he wanted to do, right?
Wow.
Because, I mean, career, especially with a middle-class mindset, it's all about career, right?
Yeah.
The job you get, and then you're like a worker bee. That's kind of what you're sold, you know? Which is, and so he didn't have that, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that's it, but I don't know. I mean, the man's got, I mean, he probably has, you know, been diagnosed with certain things. It's just a lot of complicated things. I will say this, I was in AA for 5 years. I still don't drink. I'm going on 7.
Do you think AA?
Oh, you know what's weird?
What's that?
I just realized I just got 7. What is today?
The fucking
Yeah, I got 7 years yesterday.
Oh wow, congrats, man.
But here's the thing, like,
congrats.
Before I was like, I knew exactly when that's coming up because I was in AA, right?
Yeah.
But they, and let me say this before I say anything, AA did save my life.
It did?
I can't say it didn't. I mean, the community, it was a place where I could go, people immediately accepted me.
Yeah.
I was going out to eat with people, a lot of people, and it was just a community of like, everyone's here to try to do better.
I know that they bring up the term sponsor a lot. Is that one thing that you had in AA, was a sponsor?
I had a sponsor. I've sponsored a bunch of other dudes.
Okay.
I did the whole 9 with the AA. And while I don't agree with a lot of its tenets anymore, and I'm no longer in it, it did save my life.
Okay.
But then going back to what you were saying, you know, just as far as like, I don't see how I would have got sober. I was very lonely out here, drinking and had no real prospects.
So you were an AA out here in Manhattan?
Yeah.
Oh wow. So, like, with AA, is it something that you chose to go to, or was it like probation? Like probation told you to do it?
No, I chose because I ran away from probation.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And so I was desperate enough to like just do anything.
Yeah.
So that was good, but yeah, like AA really, you get reinforced every day. You're an alcoholic. You say it at the meeting, right? I'm Ethan, I'm an alcoholic. And you get fed a mindset that like
you're taking some accountability. You know?
Which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the accountability. I think and they're really good at that. So, you know, everyone there is pushing you to go do something.
Yeah.
Right? It's one of the reasons I felt like I could go back to college and support, you know. But they do really enforce that idea of like alcoholism. And I think that I don't agree with the ideas of like, you know, there's kind of an idea of like on your own, you will always be an alcoholic and you will fail and you need this program and you need a higher power. And like, I have a higher power.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think you must, you know, what about the atheist alcoholics? You know, what about the people who really just like can't decide on what they think about God? And stuff like that. I would recommend anybody who's really struggling with alcoholism to go and at least check out Alcoholics Anonymous because of the community it can offer. And then it's kind of one of those things, take what you want and leave what you don't. Because there's a lot of, AA is just people. You know what I mean? It's not an organization, so it can be pretty hit or miss,
I think it's funny, man, because like, well, no, I wouldn't say funny, but ironic how you said you were an alcoholic and then you come to a college town. Because, I mean, it's funny because in high school, man, it's weird, man. I don't know if like I have like multiple personality disorder or what, man, but it was weird because like I always was concerned about school, always went and got good grades, but I had an anger problem, and then I was so OCD and I wanted to be perfect all at the same time. So it was kind of like a mind fuck. But like I swore I would not drink until I was 21.
Yeah.
But I ended up started drinking at 16, just going to parties and stuff like that. Like we were in high school, we were going to college parties, or we were having high school parties and whatnot. But just one thing is just, I don't know if it's just the environment, but like it's a college town, man. So it's like everybody wants to drink, everybody wants to go to parties and whatnot. So do you think that coming to Manhattan, like, did your friend already tell you how Manhattan was like, or because you never knew what Manhattan was until you moved out, right?
Yeah, I'd never seen it.
Yeah.
It's the kind of decisions you make when you're running from the law.
Yeah.
So, actually, I mean, honestly, it was probably a bit more of a mature environment here.
Wow.
Where I was from is also a college town, but there's a lot more poverty. Drugs were real. I will say that like my access to drinking's always there.
Yeah.
My access to drugs fell significantly. Because I didn't know people out here. I'm sure it's here. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Any small town, you can find what you're looking for.
But because I remember I didn't know what meth was until I was in the boys' home, and that was my 12th grade year. And everybody from the small towns were talking about it.
Yeah.
Like Emporia and Wamego and all these other towns. I was like, what the fuck is meth? Like, and then when I got to the boys' home, I heard that some of the people I went to high school with were on it. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Because they called it crystal meth, they called it ice, they called it meth, they called it all types of shit. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then now, man, it's just sad looking at some of the people that are still on it, man. It's out here. Basically, it's out here.
I will say I'm fortunate enough to where the only drugs I didn't try were like meth, heroin, and like maybe those are the only two that I never tried at least once. Yeah. But I'm thankful for that.
Oh yeah.
There's always grass is always greener, right? I'm kind of thankful at least I was only an alcoholic. Like the drinking did me good because I don't.
What do you think?
It's really scary to graduate to the next level.
Yeah. So so you answered that question. I was going to ask you, what do you think shied you away from the other stuff?
That and just a fear of needles. An ingrained natural phobia of needles, and
So in Idaho and in Utah, it's really drugs are really kind of that bad out there.
They're very bad. Idaho was the meth capital of America for a long time.
Wow, man.
Because well, it has. I think it's either the most or some of the most BLM land in that open BLM land for states. So
what's BLM?
It's Bureau of Land Management.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, BLM.
I'm thinking of Black Lives Matter. I'm I don't think.
No, it's totally different. Bureau of Land Management, open public land.
Yeah, okay.
So on this open public land, I'll just say that from now. Open public land, you can drive you can cook meth in the forest because there's an expansive forest you can hide in.
That is wild.
Yeah.
I know. Cause I mean, I don't know. We really don't hear about stuff like that. When we think of Idaho, we think even in Montana, damn, there's really not that many people out there. But then one of my coworkers, he was telling me that his daughter lives in North Dakota, and he was telling me, he was like, the drugs and crime out there is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, the media won't tell you that. He's like, man, it is bad out there. I'm like, wow. Because when you think of, honestly, this might sound fucked up, but when you think of places where it's a lot of drugs, man, you think of the inner city, man.
Yeah.
You don't think about these states being I don't know, that's crazy, man. You don't really hear much about Idaho or Utah. Whenever you think of Utah, you particularly think of Mormons and mountains.
Yeah.
You don't really think about anything else, but.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's, honestly, I mean, it's probably just, you know, probably just a little bit of racism in there at least, because, you know, inner city, I think most people connect it to black and brown people.
Oh, yeah.
And there's this ridiculous stereotype that they would, like, do more drugs. But it's, I mean, the reality, the statistics say the most drugs are being done in the suburbs.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Because they are.
I learned that growing up, man, and TV plays a big role in a lot of people's perception, man, because I always thought that, and then, like, growing up in Manhattan, man, it's diverse, but a lot of people from the city wouldn't say it is. It's pretty diverse out here, but, like, a lot of the people that I saw doing drugs and selling drugs were a lot of white people, man. I'm like, what the fuck? But, yeah, man, and when it comes to racism, I know one of my friends, he actually moved to Montana. He's a white guy from Manhattan, and he was telling me, he was like, man, it's racist out here.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm glad I got the fuck out of these little towns and moved to like the city. He was like, it's still racist in the city, but it's not that bad because you have a little bit more diversity. And I honestly feel like that's the reason why, like, cause, in Kansas particularly, there's racism, but like it's mainly in these small ass towns. It's mainly in western Kansas. And I tell people, I honestly believe it's because there's not a lot of diversity out there.
Yeah.
Because a majority of my friends growing up were white, and I've got friends of all races, but like, they would tell me some of the things that their parents taught them to believe, but their parents are they're either old school or they're from like small ass towns.
Yeah.
They're not from the city, so you know, it's just that misconception. But
no, I completely agree. I mean, you know, I'm not proud to say it, but it's true. You know, I held a lot of racist beliefs growing up, inadvertently. You know, no one thinks that they're being racist.
Oh yeah,
right? But I mean, like, I was so unexposed. Like, one of the things I never understood, I thought like school segregation, for example, that's one. I didn't think that was real. I thought that was something that had happened in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
The things we learned in our textbooks confirmed what I thought, you know, because it's not getting into it. And so it was a shocker for me to like go, because, you know, it's not like we had no diversity. You know, there's a significant Latino population in Idaho. And, you know, the people are people. There's going to be, you know, people of all races.
Yeah.
But you don't know that the schools would be segregated because there's not enough kids to segregate in high school. You know what I mean? You can't really. The schools were definitely segregated by class. I see now. You know, definitely for sure because of the areas they were in. But like, you don't. There was just not enough exposure, and you don't have almost any exposure to diverse voices. You know, because you are so. Even, it's almost embarrassing to say, but even my journey to Kansas, that was my diversity awakening. You know what I mean? Like, Manhattan, Kansas like, is more, you know.
I mean, it's crazy though, man, because a lot of people really don't, like, I've known people from the military that came out here from New York, the South, Louisiana, Texas, and they thought Kansas was just farmers. Yeah. It was just a whole bunch of old school white people. I'm like, nah, I was like, it's pretty diverse out. Mainly Manhattan because, you know, Fort Riley, but in college. But yeah, man, with your perceptions of growing up, man, that's one, I was laughing because, like, I know one thing I always thought, mainly from TV, was that I thought growing up that every white person was rich. Yeah. And it's funny because I was so convinced that, but I was not realizing that my friends that were white were far from rich. And I didn't realize that until I got older. I'm like, why did I think that? Yeah. Obviously, these fools grew up in the same neighborhood I did. But yeah, one question I wanted to ask you real quick. So I know we were talking about your dad earlier and what could have probably caused him to go back to his bad habits, but would you or have you ever had that conversation with him? Oh yeah, like so many times. I mean, my dad, it's weird, you know, like everyone has a perception of like what an alcoholic father is, right? Yeah. My dad, like, there was a couple times we almost got into physical altercations, but I was big enough at the time, I was growing up, to where my dad couldn't be too like physically abusive at home, but he's always been honest and like after he's drinking. Right? Yeah. The binge is, you know, nothing happens, but he's been straightforward. He's gone to rehab a bunch of times. I don't know how many times he's made amends to me through the AA process. You know, he's not someone who, you know, he'll sit there and listen to your criticism. Yeah. You know,
And when when he's sober, he wants to listen to you and be like a loving, caring, compassionate dad. You know what I mean? Like, so it is kind of weird, It's not the standard, like, movie alcoholic father you see.
Yeah.
Everything is so nuanced with all this stuff, So.
Do you think that, is he remarried or had any other kids after the divorce? Or?
No, it's been, it's just been a lot of cycles of rehab and live in different places.
Wow.
To go through the whole history of it is just, there's so much that he's, man, I don't know how many times he's been in the ICU.
Wow.
There's been, it's at least been 4 or 5 times that if an ambulance hadn't arrived to his house or like a neighbor hadn't called him, he'd be dead,
So do you think, did that cross your mind like when you left Idaho to Kansas, like, hey, I'm worried about my dad, or was it more like hey, I gotta do this or else I'm gonna end up worse?
It's, literally, I think it was actually bad intentions. It's weird where life takes you.
Yeah, you're telling me, man.
I was telling people, right, like my friends and my mom, I'm leaving to go get help. I can't do this under probation.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest with my feelings, I wanted to go somewhere like a drink with no accountability.
Yeah, yeah.
It just so happened that my life just kept getting worse and worse to the point where I wanted to change,
I could relate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because my main thing right there is when things were getting worse for me, man, was just relationship after relationship. And then when I was with this redhead chick in Ogden, man, I just, because every relationship that I was in, man, I would never break it off.
Yeah.
I would just keep being fucked up until they were like, okay, I'm done with you. Because with my temper, it was like, if I say something, how do I not know I'm gonna regret that because I said that out of anger?
Yeah.
But when they said it, I held them accountable for it. And then with her, I got so fed up with it that I was like, I'm done. Like, and I'd never done that before, and I was like, man, I knew I grew from there. But yeah, man, because basically, man, I was having my ex. She took my 2 oldest kids, and then she moved back to Illinois. Then I got a relationship the same year with this other chick, got her pregnant, and it's funny because the relationship, her pregnancy lasted longer than our relationship. And then I got with the redhead chick, and then I just realized, I said, man, I'm getting child support taken away. I'm like, I used to be able to take care of my family and my friends. Now I'm living off of this girl's couch. I'm getting tired of, everything, and I was just like, I'm out. I was like, man, I either got to move back in with my mom or I'm going to live in my car. And I just got out, man. But I know exactly what you mean, man, because, at the time, like, it's a blessing in disguise, man. For me, it was. Like, things were spiraling out of control and just whole types of other things. I was like, man, it gave me that push that I needed. I was like, fuck this. So, yeah, I can definitely relate, man. So, with your dad, you said that the ICU calls and being in the hospital and everything, and going from shelter to shelter, basically. So is he homeless right now, or?
Currently, he's in a group home in Montana. And he's mowing lawns for a living.
Damn.
So it's like stuff like that. He's been in like group homes, shelters, rehabs, living with different women.
Damn.
A couple times on his own. Just all over the place, really.
Do your parents still stay in touch, or no?
No, not at all.
Did your mom get remarried or anything?
No, she wants to. My poor mom.
Yeah.
It's really unfair for my mom. Again, I come from a very straight-laced family on both sides. I think we're the only divorce. No, well, okay, so my uncle got remarried to my aunt before I was born. Other than that, everyone's together, they all do the...
Yeah. So your mom's kept your composure through all of this?
Yeah, my mom's amazing.
Wow, that's good, man. That's really good.
She's a champ.
Yeah, that's crazy, because I know that when we spoke previously in the barbershop, I know you were saying that your mom was like the total opposite of your dad. So,
yeah, completely.
Yeah. Okay, man. Now I want to talk to you about why did you become a teacher? Out of all things, why a teacher?
So, again, at the time, I like literature.
Yeah.
I love English. I was originally going to go for an English degree to teach.
Have you written any books yet?
I've been writing.
Okay.
My current job takes away all that want to write. But I wanted to be a teacher because I don't know why, honestly. I always thought it'd be a cool job, even when I was young. And it's funny because I hated school.
Yeah.
I never wanted to be there, you know, but it sounded, I wanted to do something that made a difference.
Yeah.
I just wanted to do all the things that people say, right? Any reasons people become a teacher. But what I've been realizing lately too, you know, I talked about like the class thing and the mindset that you grow up with. I realized that like a teacher was a job that is stable, secure, it requires a college degree, and that hits all of the boxes that people in my family are looking for, all the older generations, right? And it is that middle class mindset, right? You get that career and you work it, you know? I guess my dream was to be a part of a school where I'm like that teacher who's been there for like 28 years and taught multiple generations of people and entrenched in the community, you know? That's why I wanted to do it, you know?
And how long have you been teaching?
So this will only be my third year.
Third year,
and
wow.
I'm not making it through even half of it.
Yeah, so what's making you, okay, I want to ask you why you're resigning right after. How do you have the patience of a teacher, man? To deal with, I mean, I don't know if the schools or the students you deal with are bad, man, but like, how do you have the patience of a teacher? Like, what would you say your technique is? Because I know dealing with certain kids, man, could probably be annoying, but I just want to know how you have the patience, man. How do you deal with it?
I don't know what my technique was, honestly. I mean, one, it was like this big awakening for me, right?
Yeah.
My first job was in Topeka.
Okay.
And
Topeka, Kansas.
Yep.
For everybody watching.
Highland Park High School. That was my first job. I only taught there for a year.
What side of Topeka is that?
That's east side.
Okay, I don't hear much about the east side, but I hear a lot about the south side and I think the west side, I think.
I know that it's like, if it's the bad part of town, that's where I taught.
Oh.
That's what people, you know,
okay.
say. Well, I mean, you know, we had 90% of students on free or reduced lunches, which indicates poverty, you know. So that was, I mean, you know, I was there because I really wanted to help and make a difference and learn. Because I had been, again, I'd gone from an experience of, you know, unintentionally, but just being around like white people all the time, occasionally Hispanic people, you know, and just being so completely, and so here I am where, you know, the majority of the students are black or Latino or otherwise.
Oh, wow.
The culture shock, just trying to like, so that was a learning experience.
Yeah.
Because it's like, here I am like trying to help these kids who have a completely different upbringing from me, you know? And so, I liked it though.
So when you became, so you were a teacher first before Junction City? I mean, in Topeka?
Yes.
So you went to KSU, then you moved to Topeka?
No, I went to Meth, so I graduated K-State.
Yeah.
I was commuting an hour. Part of the reason I don't work at Highland Park anymore.
Okay.
I probably could have kept teaching there, but like the last straw was really the commute.
Damn,
it's just too long, you know?
Okay. Yeah, because, man, early 2000s, I heard a lot of bad things about Topeka. I don't hear much now, man, but mainly because, you know, my ex and her parents would always watch the news. But, yeah, man, I can only imagine what that was like going to Topeka every time. But, like, were there a lot of attitudes you dealt with, or was it just a lot of, like, what would you say was, like, the biggest challenge?
You know, the biggest challenge is definitely, you know, in the personal, it's the students and, like, having a lack of support. There just needs to be more people in the classroom.
Yeah.
There needs to be more people in the classroom, more programs, more places for students. So, you know, the biggest challenge was this classroom management, you know. But, I mean, if you just stick it out for a while, like, you really get to, like, love the kids and you don't mind too much.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing, and what we can loop back to it, but it's the biggest reason I am leaving teaching is because I no longer have the tolerance.
Damn.
You know, before, before I was like on these kids' side and I like wanted all of them to succeed and I would go out of my way, and I had to be honest with myself. When I stopped caring about the students' well-being, it's not like I'm actively against them. It's just that like when I don't care anymore, that's when it's time to go because it's been too stressful, you know?
Yeah, exactly, man. So with you resigning from teaching in Junction City, are you going to teach at a different school, or are you choosing a different career path?
No, I'm looking for online.
Oh, okay.
I've accepted a tutoring position part-time.
Okay.
I might also become a curriculum writer. We'll see. I haven't heard back from that.
Okay.
It pays more than what I make.
Yeah.
It's remote. But no, I don't know what it would take for me to go back to teaching.
Okay.
Because at Junction City, it's not like I'm working with bad administrators or teachers who don't care. Everyone there is dedicated.
Yeah.
And the supports and like educational philosophy, everything is just not there to support it. You know what I mean? So it's I don't think like me leaving this position, I'm gonna go find a better.
Yeah.
You know.
So what I just found out recently, I think it was like 2 months ago, Junction City built a new high school.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that the middle school was like literally like right across the street.
Yeah.
And so I know that with the high school and the middle school being that far out of JC, it's basically going. I mean, it's kind of towards, I think, Abilene or one of those towns or something.
Yeah, it's going toward Milford and stuff. Yeah.
So, I mean, I know, man. Growing up in Manhattan, man, we just had like an ingrained hate against Junction City, man. It was just rivalry and stuff. So I don't know much about like the school systems, but like, would you say Junction City was a bit diverse as Topeka, or?
Yeah, you mind if I?
Oh yeah, you're good. I'll keep everybody in the same way.
I want to stay, but
no, you're good, man. I usually just hold it in until I'm done.
I've been trying.
No, you're good. You're good. All right, so he's going to take a piss right quick. So that's never happened before. But yeah, his name's Ethan McNeil. He's from Utah, but then he moved to Idaho. Then he moved out here to Kansas to be a teacher. And he was telling me the things that I've learned about him is he's telling me a lot more about what Idaho is and what Utah is, and basically if you haven't traveled much, or your whole perception of Utah and Idaho is just a lot of Mormons and whatnot, and he said it's like that basically in the smaller communities, but in the city it's more diverse. But yeah, man. And then when he was opening up about his dad being alcoholic, like I'm glad that I could interview a guy like this, because when I first met him at the barbershop, we were talking. I mean, he was talking about Idaho or whatnot, and then I was asking him like about his whole perception of Kansas, and he was telling me that it's a lot more diverse than what he thought it would be. And I know 2 weeks ago when I had Richard on the podcast, the former Marine, a lot of diversity that comes in, particularly Manhattan, is the Fort Riley Army Base, and of course K-State, because it's a college town. And Ethan went to K-State for a degree in education. So yeah, he's coming back right now. That was a quick piss. Hopefully he washed his hands. But yeah, man, I'm about to ask him even more questions. But basically, man, if y'all haven't been to Manhattan, y'all should check it out. Or let me know. Inbox me, and I might go to where y'all at, because I like to travel as well. So he's back. Here he is.
All right. But yeah, I would say, just jumping right back in.
Yeah.
Junction is pretty much as diverse as Topeka.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I haven't noticed much of a difference in the student population.
Okay.
So.
Okay. You mentioned the new job or whatever that you're looking for is going to pay more, and that's one thing I was going to ask you, man. I know a lot of teachers that talk about their pay and how teachers deserve to get paid more, no matter where you're at. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, 100%. I mean, one, I'll just preface this, like, as far as politically, I'm, like, very far left.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm not, like, a liberal Democrat.
Yeah.
I am a leftist.
Yeah.
Right? So, absolutely, they need to be paid more. I think everyone needs to be paid more in general.
Yeah.
I don't think any business should be able to run off of labor that doesn't pay someone's bills.
Oh,
right?
yeah, man. Yeah.
You know, but, yeah, I mean, so this is my third year, and I did like and the math isn't quite there because I don't work as many weeks as everyone else. But,
Okay.
you know, just to be candid, my hourly salary is like the low 40s, right?
Okay.
And one, to me, that sounded pretty great because
Yeah.
I had been making, the most I had made before that was $12 an hour, right?
Oh, wow.
So part-time.
Damn.
So like I had always been like, you know, again, raised middle class because as an adult, my personal finances, I lived in poverty, right?
Yeah. Damn.
But so that was the most I had made before that point. And so, you know, when I started like 40-some grand a year, I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's great. But I did some calculations and it's about $20 an hour. And then I realized like I have a bachelor's degree.
Mm-hmm.
I have an incredible amount of responsibility.
Yeah.
I mean, like literally certified to watch 29 middle schoolers at a time, right?
And what really, I think a lot of parents realize what teachers go through during the pandemic. You know, like everybody was doing online courses and taking care of this. Like, I give a lot of props to teachers, man. Because it's a lot more responsibility than most people think. You got to deal with all these different attitudes. I mean, and not just that. It's like basically a daycare, but you're teaching. You know. Like,
and your professional responsibilities are just so much. So the way I see it is like, if we're talking about comparable work, what someone's doing for the hours, you know, I mean, teachers should not make anything under $100 grand.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, like, economically what the system would look like, but, like, obviously there's not the money to give them that, or the desire.
I know, exactly, man. It's crazy because a lot of, I see some pictures and whatnot online, and, like, they compare, basically, man, the system, and we all know the system is flawed, but, like, you think about, like, schools, public schools, and you think about prisons, like, a lot of this stuff is kind of, like, almost the same. Like, I don't know if I'm wording that right. Like, basically, you think of, like, they compare the transportation bus to the prisons, the same transportation bus to go to the schools, the lunchrooms, the scheduling, just everything, and it's just crazy, man. If you could, what would be your suggestion to make schools better, like for kids to feel more hope? Because I'm pretty sure me and you can relate to this, but like I've known some people right after high school didn't know what they wanted to do. Yeah. And it's like once they didn't have a classroom, didn't have to go to school, it's like that's when shit got worse for them. I know some people that are in and out of prison and stuff like that. And I just wonder, like, if you're in school for K through 12, basically, man, what is that, like 13, 14 years? I think, I don't know when you start school, like 3 or 4 years old? Yeah. Something like that. But like, I feel like, personally, man, they need more life skills. But what would your suggestion be to make schools better? And it would make individuals better.
So I wouldn't start with things like curriculum, you know. I would definitely, I think it really just comes to funding straight up, you know. And there would also need to be different mentalities of education. Yeah. I mean, the cutting edge of like educational thought is so far from what we actually practice. Yeah. But even like those changes like should come in time, yes. But like, it just needs funding, and the funding needs to be allocated correctly. Yeah. You know, one of the things I saw when I was working at Highland Park in Topeka is, you know, I worked in one of those classrooms that you see on like the, you know, education expose on the news, like, you know, stuff's dripping from the ceiling and the air conditioner doesn't work, and you, like, your textbooks are just destroyed.
They have those in Topeka like that?
Yeah, so
I think it's the South on there.
So my classroom's like that, right? But in that same district, they'd have like a new renovated junior high across the town, or they have like this really like fancy tech thing they have, or these teacher professional development. I'm just sitting here thinking, why does my school look like this? You know, why does my school still look like it hasn't been updated since like the 1970s? Wow. And we got schools across the, you know, in the same district, you know, on the other side of town that are looking way better. So yeah, it has to be.
That is crazy.
Yeah, distributed evenly, right? Yeah. And again, like we need paras, we need extra like programs for students with behavior issues and stuff. We need like a lot of accountability. There just needs to be people in places. Yeah. You know, like more teachers to spread out more kids so they have a smaller environment. All of that.
With that being said, when you talk about the paras, man, like when I was in actually before it started in elementary school. Like, it's funny now, man, but like I said, I had an anger problem, but like I was obsessed with Dragon Ball Z. So like I would want to fight kids just to be a Dragon Ball Z. I wanted to whoop kids' ass for just because I thought I was a Dragon Ball Z kid. Yeah. But it got to the point where like also with my temper and everything, and seeing my mom the way that she raised us growing up, they put me in like behavior disorder, and like I realized like we people would make always like short bus jokes until I ended up being on short bus, and like it really. Cause man, it's crazy, man. And it's great that I could talk to you about this because you're a teacher. But like growing up in Manhattan, man, like I used to get in so many fights. So I went to Bluemont Elementary, and then they wouldn't want me to come. They didn't want me to come back second grade year. Supposedly we signed up too late, but my sisters got signed up in time. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. They didn't want me to come back, so I went to Marlatt. No, I went to Woodrow. Then I went to Marlatt. Then I went back to Bluemont, and then I started to ride the short bus, and then man, when I was on the short bus, I was on there with people that had behavior disorders. Yeah. And I was also on there with people that are like mentally retarded. Yeah. And I mean, I'm trying not to laugh because we used to always make fun of like, oh, you're retarded. Like we used to always call each other retarded. But like when you're actually on the bus, man, with them, it's like, damn, is there something wrong with me? Like I used to always wonder that, and I just remember like that behavior disorder class when we had a padded room. And I was just talking to my girl about this the other day. I was like, it's crazy because out of all the people that I was in the behavior disorder with, I think maybe 60% of them had been to prison. Yeah. I just happened to didn't go, but it's like, did that even teach anybody a lesson? Like, did that classroom with that structure teach anybody a lesson? And I was in behavior disorder from, I think 5th or 6th grade all the way until I graduated high school. And there's just a lot of people I know that, you know, it wasn't really helping them. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, I think, I mean, you see that all the time, you know?
Would you ever be a teacher in Manhattan?
No, not unless there's like a big structural change.
Because I wonder, like, I wonder if the schooling system is different going from Topeka, which is basically a city, to Junction City to Manhattan. But maybe it won't be. I don't know, man. Some people growing up here could tell the difference between Junction City and Manhattan, but I don't know if the schooling is like if it's different. But
I guess I don't know. There's kind of one, you know, I kind of know the differences between districts, and really it's just policies, curriculum, and like their population, right? So like,
and there's more money in Manhattan, right?
Yeah, there's a lot more money.
Oh, okay.
Because schools are funded off of property tax, you know? And property values are much higher in Manhattan.
That's true.
You know, but I mean, here's the thing: I could probably go find some suburban school that's easy to teach at, right? Yeah. And be relatively happy. What I could never stop thinking about is like 30 minutes that way. Yeah. There's some kids who are just being completely failed in their education. Not even some, like a lot, you know, where it's just like.
And you mean Topeka?
Or Junction, either way. Wow. You know? And again, it's not like the school. Like my administrators are amazing people. Yeah. You know, I mean, I like a lot of the policies of the district. Yeah. There's nothing to, they just don't have the resources, you know? Or if they do, they're not being allocated. I don't know what's going up top, but, you know. Yeah. Because, I mean, you know, like what you were talking about earlier, generally, you would want, like, programs for behavior issues, and you'd want compassionate teachers who can give these kids that time and attention, you know, that one-on-one. Yeah. That helps so many kids, right? Yeah. The problem I'm seeing nowadays is, like, we just don't have those things. So I got kids who I'm not able to accommodate for, right? Like, kids who are just, say, violent, right? Mm-hmm. There's nowhere to send them, right? Yeah. Like really, it's like there's like one program, or they get expelled, and like with all the legalities of educating kids and guaranteeing education, you know, since there's nowhere to send them, like a lot of these kids are just stuck in the regular public education setting, and they're just not being helped and not improving, you know.
So you being an adult now, and you seeing this, do teachers know that, hey, if this kid acts like this, there has to be something going on at home?
Usually, it's not a one-to-one, though.
Okay.
I mean, I got some kids who, like, I got one kid who you would think he would be from, like, some terrible abusive home. His mom is super nice,
Yeah.
very accommodating, very, like, on board, trying to help the school.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, that kid, he just has, it's probably just him. I don't know what else
Yeah,
happened in his life. But,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's everywhere, right? Some kids don't have a great home life, but
Yeah.
they love school and they embrace it. Some kids have a horrible home life, they take it out at school.
Yeah.
It's a whole variety of things.
Do you ever deal with those kids that you know are just trying to be something they're not?
Yeah, I mean, it's junior high.
Oh,
They don't know who they don't know who the hell they are. They're all trying to be something, you know?
So, you being a teacher, man, you said that you have, like, what do you do during the summertime then? Like, if there's no school, like, do you do summer school, or do you just take 3 months of unemployment? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, it's about 2 months, and yeah, it's not, you're not unemployed. You just like, I just have my paycheck sent through the, the year. So, no, I just hang out and I garden.
Okay.
And I like, I don't know, I've learned how to barbecue.
Okay.
Yeah, I just hang out and go on vacation. You know?
Yeah. So, do you think that telling the students, I mean, I know you're resigning now, but, like, do you think that it would help if, like, I don't know what the policy is with schools, but, like, if you were to introduce yourself to a new wave of students that came in and you helped them and you told them about your story, do you think that that would hit them differently, or do you think that the kids would probably go home and tell their parents, oh, this guy did this? And then,
oh, no, I've been fairly candid with who I am to my students.
Okay.
Not completely, you know, I'm not gonna, but I don't when inevitably students always ask, have you ever, like, smoked weed?
Yeah. Oh, wow, they ask you that?
Yeah.
Oh.
I just say something like most adults have smoked weed.
Okay.
Or just like, sometimes it's like, yes, I don't anymore.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, like, what do you, so I've always been, and that is a way, if you're honest with your kids, that is an inroad for to improve those relationships, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I'm kind of scared with raising kids, to be honest with you, the older they get now, because it's like, I know that, like, I never, like, I would hang out with a whole bunch of people that smoked and drank, and, like, I drank, but not, like I was, like, everybody called me, like, the bitch of the group, because, like, I would get drunk off of, like, a fucking wine cooler. And,
yeah, right.
Just lightweight, but, like, it's just, like, I know that, like, as my kids get older, I know that they're gonna go through some of the things that I've gone through, or maybe the things that, maybe they're gonna go through some things that they don't know how to say no to, you know, and just, I don't know, that kind of, like, worries me, man. And just, like, I've known some people that have, you know, died from fentanyl recently, and it's like, man, all this shit, like, this stuff wasn't even, like, we don't know about fentanyl work when we were in high school, but, like, you just gotta worry about things like that, and, like, people are talking about fentanyl now, but 5 to 10 years later, it might be some worse shit.
Yeah,
you know?
for real.
It might be, I don't know, something you look at and you die. Bird box type stuff, man.
Right.
But yeah, so, what do you hear other teachers say, like, when it comes to, like, the school? Like, do you guys have these conversations?
Oh yeah, morale is
wow.
awful. Like, just, I mean, I haven't talked to anyone who's been positive at school for weeks. Like, on occasion, we'll see, you know, I mean, you know, it can't be all horrible, but yeah, generally, almost everyone's upset with teaching in the current state of things.
What do you think keep making them stay? Because some of these people have probably been there longer than you, right?
Well, one, you got to pay money to get out of your contract, because it's a contract.
Were you not under contract? Or?
No, I am, and so I have to pay to get out of the contract.
Oh, it is now.
So that sucks.
Damn.
And, you know.
Wow, I did not know that.
And you get, I mean, you know, my wife makes decent money and we're in the position where I can do this.
Yeah.
I could see a lot of people where there's just no feasible way they could, you know.
Wow.
Like, on top of that, it's like a big emotional roller coaster because I'm still there to, like, keep my teaching license till I get a replacement. It's not like a 2 weeks, right? It's like you just have to, or like basically we'll revoke your teaching license, which I don't know if I technically need for some jobs, but.
I didn't know that either. What the fuck? So, like, that's 4 years of education, right? 4 years of college?
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
And they can take it away like that?
I mean, they can't take away, like, my bachelor's degree, right? They can just take away my teaching certificate in Kansas, right? So I could still use my bachelor's and my credentials and stuff.
Okay.
So, and yeah, I think a lot of people stay because you don't know what your other options are.
Yeah.
Teaching's a very it's very involved as far as your career and especially your identity.
Yeah.
You become a teacher.
Yeah.
You know, you don't. It's not just like your job. You're now a teacher.
Yeah.
And you get so emotionally invested in the school and the students that you know. I mean, I think there are some people that are built different.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just, for whatever reason, can shrug off almost anything.
Yeah.
I have a couple of colleagues where I'm baffled to where they're clearly having a terrible time, and they just let it go,
Wow.
right away. I don't know how to let it go. I don't know how to not carry it throughout my day. But
I know it's funny when it comes to teachers though, man, because I know there's been a couple of times when me and my friends would go to Aggieville and we'd run into one of my friend's elementary teachers and she's drinking in Aggieville and shit. That's so it's so weird, man. But because I guess when you think of a teacher, you think of kind of like them just grading papers and being perfect. But
yeah,
damn, I'm pretty sure some of them get pretty fucked up.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I know they do.
So I'm gonna ask you various questions, man. So it might not even stay it's just gonna be hey, this question, this question. What was your perception of Kansas when you first came?
Kansas, pretty much just, I don't know.
Did you think it would be close to Idaho, or?
Kind of, as far as it's very conservative like Idaho is.
Okay.
Idaho was, from where I'm from, was a bit more impoverished. Manhattan definitely is a little nicer of a place.
Yeah.
What really got to me, so one thing that was really weird was the Bureau of Land Management stuff.
Yeah.
Because in Idaho you can go anywhere, just hike, there's so much open land to just hang out on. It was so weird to come out here and it's everything's private property and there's one place to go hike.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really strange.
Are you talking about Kanza? Kanza Trail?
Yeah. And there's since then there's a couple walks.
Yeah.
There's not just
trail.
there's not the open wilderness. I also really like to go shooting.
Yeah.
And I don't like it anymore because in Idaho you could just drive 10 minutes out of town from a hillside and blast it up. Here you got to go to a gun range.
Yeah.
And I'm I don't want to do that.
That is true. I know. That's why I love Colorado, man. In Colorado, there's so many things to do outdoors. But now that I think about it, there's really not a lot of outdoor stuff to do here.
No, there's not.
I never really thought about it. There's some people that kayak on the river. There's some people that go to Kanza, but that's just one thing.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah.
I will also say, at least for Manhattan, as Manhattan goes, I feel like people are very reserved here. I think a lot of people. I found the culture to be very private, and it's surprising how many people are they're surprisingly non-confrontational. To the point where I've just never seen so many people actively avoid trying to talk to you, because I don't know where I'm from. If you pass someone on the street, right, you just say hi.
Yeah.
I don't know. You get hello. You give them acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Or if you have some minor interaction in a store, it's common to just have a short conversation with someone. It just doesn't happen here.
You must be intimidating them, man. I mean, I don't know, man. There's a lot of people
you might be outgoing. I mean,
probably. Probably. Damn, I never really thought about that, man. See, that's why I love talking to people that aren't from here, because it opens my eyes, and because when you've been here for so long, you really don't notice shit like that, I guess.
Yeah.
Now it's gonna bother me how much outdoor stuff we don't have.
Right. And it's a shocking amount of lack
of
outdoor stuff, because Idaho is basically one of those outdoor states. You can.
Yeah. So, both places that you lived at, the town in Utah and the town in Idaho, were they the same size of Manhattan, or smaller, bigger, or?
Well, so in Salt Lake, in the suburb I was in, it's just a big continuous city in the valley.
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't know how my town was called Murray. Okay. I don't know the population of Murray, but it never felt like I didn't know the boundaries of the town. It's just we're in the giant valley, a couple million people.
And you've been out here for how many years?
Man, now I'm going on 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've probably seen a little bit of the growth of Manhattan, but other than that, man.
A little bit.
Yeah, man. Growing up here, it was a little ass town.
Yeah.
And now it's slowly becoming a city. Like we're expanding out to all these little towns. Like Keats is basically like from the times that I went to Keats, like basically you would only know if you're going to Keats if you were paying attention to the sign, because Manhattan has grown so close to it. We're growing really close to Ogden.
Yeah.
And then we're growing really close to Wamego, and St. George, man. But before, there was so little. Like where Hy-Vee's at, that used to be literally like just a big ass patch of grass, one weird gas station, one broken down house, a couple of liquor stores. But man, it was so like little townish, man, growing up. But now it's like it's different. But yeah, I was also going to ask you, because you mentioned the teachers' pay and whatnot, but I wanted to talk to you about inflation, man. I don't know if you've noticed like the cost of everything going up now, but has the cost of being a teacher, like hourly pay, gone up with that or no?
Like not matching, but in general, I believe, and I would need to pull this up, but I believe if you kept up with inflation of what minimum wage was, you know, it'd be like $22 an hour or something.
Yeah.
Like it'd be a lot. So no, teaching doesn't like keep up.
Damn, man. I think they do teachers wrong, man, because basically you guys are teaching the kids of the future. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, you guys play way more responsibility than what most people do.
Well, yeah, and it's you know, again, it's hard to even know where to begin. I'm so disillusioned with teaching because, you know, it's not like I went in thinking this was going to be an easy job.
Yeah.
I didn't think like, you know, I really wanted to be dedicated to this, and I tried, and you know, not to toot my own horn, but my students really like me.
Yeah.
You know, I am good at what I do.
Do they know you're resigning? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, damn.
Yeah.
Well, I just didn't know that's something you had to like wait to tell them. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell them on Monday.
Oh shit.
Because they know because some other teachers spilled the beans for some, like I don't know why they would do that.
Yeah.
So they're all expecting it.
So how long do you think that what were your intentions of teaching, like until you retired?
Yeah. I wanted the whole nine, man.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Okay, what motivates you or inspires you?
I'm really inspired by, if you ever listen to Alan Watts, he's like he's a speaker, he's studied Buddhism, Zen Buddhism, Hinduism, all that stuff, but he was originally a Catholic priest, and he has a philosophy that is kind of a mix of Western and Eastern ideas of God and existence. Okay. I really there's a lot of spiritual things that I really, that motivate me. Yeah. Right now, to get through this time, one thing that AA really taught me was to embrace a spiritual practice. So I do stuff like breath work, meditating. I've tried like astral projection stuff. I'll listen to things by Alan Watts, Eckhart Tolle. There's a lot of things like that.
Have you heard of the toad? Okay, like Mike Tyson was talking about this a lot, man, because he said this is what humbled him. He also had a false death, and he realized his ego. And I guess like somewhere in Mexico, they have this frog where like you smoke the venom or you inhale the vapors, and like it's basically like a hallucinogen, and like you basically see your ego and you die and you see your whole life flash before your eyes and all this stuff, and it lasts like 15 minutes. It's basically like a trip, and I just didn't like when you were talking about that. It reminded me of that. But yeah, man, I never heard of Alan Watts, but I've listened to a lot of motivational videos, like E.T., Eric Thomas, Les Brown, Tony Robbins, and all of them. And one thing I want to get into is meditation myself, man. But how do you do your meditation? Like, do you go off of YouTube tutorials or?
So I started right around, I was probably 18 or 19. This is after I left the Christian church and I was practicing. So I originally started meditating to do what's called astral projection. Okay. I wanted to leave my body.
Have you done that?
I wasn't able to do it. I felt when I really got into the meditation, I felt some pretty crazy things, but I would have a lot of lucid dreams though. Like a ton of those. especially in the practice. So mine was originally like I had like a purpose behind it, but I just took those meditation practices I learned from that and just continued them forward.
Okay.
So I've off and on practiced meditation in some form since, well, that'd probably be going on like 14 years now.
Yeah, I've heard of meditation and the outer body experiences. That's one thing I want to do, man. Like, you know what's crazy though is like sometimes, like when I think back at things, like I can see myself looking at me.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know if that's an outer body experience, but it's just crazy.
It is. That's one that they talk about a lot.
Okay. Damn. And like, I'm really interested in that stuff because it's like, we don't realize like, okay, this might sound crazy, man, but like, we as humans, I think that we're all oppressed. I honestly believe that. I believe we're oppressed and suppressed, and we're being led by a lot of lies. Because I feel like, we are, the things that our mind could do and what we can do, we're not being taught that.
No.
Like somebody, the elites are telling us we can only do this, or everything this is impossible, and stuff like that. But until that one person does it, then a whole bunch of other people have the same mindset and then they do it.
Yeah.
So I feel like the craziest shit that some people might say that they want to do, I believe is possible.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that, man. So.
Well, I mean, who knows? I mean, when you think about if we didn't, our current conditions aren't very conducive to a spiritual life. Americans work. I learned this the other day. We work more hours than like the Japanese, a famously overworked people. Like we're, it's especially when you think about how many people have to get two jobs.
Yeah, yeah,
so
man,
like,
that's ridiculous.
Whether it be like intentionally keeping us down or just the system being the way it is.
Yeah.
Who has time to go try to have an out-of-body experience when you've worked two jobs? You know?
And then when you don't think like the masses, you're the crazy one.
Exactly.
And like I had this one conversation with this guy when I was in Oakland, this homeless white guy. Everybody else was ignoring him, but I was believing everything he was saying, man. He was talking about like G-force and how he was in the military and how they can control and manipulate the weather. Everybody's looking at him like, why the fuck are you talking to him? I'm like, no, I believe this shit. Like I believe there's a lot of stuff that we're suppressed on. Like drones were around in the military before they became to the public. Cell phones were allowed in the military years before they became to the public. Like we're being fucking, we think, Americans, we think we're so technologically advanced, the masses, but there's so many things in the works that have been in study and used before they would decide to sell it, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, cause I don't know if you saw it, but there's this one thing that's going, and it's like they have this one recorder or something. So there's one guy, he was in front of his microphone, and he was having one of the guys have like a leaf blower, and like he was blowing the leaf blower while he was talking. He's like, basically he said you can't hear me and all this stuff, and then he played that recorder, and it blocked out the background noise, and you could hear his voice clearly. And I'm like, I know that had to be used in the military before they decided to sell it to the masses.
Oh,
man.
sure.
Yeah, it's just.
Sure.
But I believe that there's so many things that we could do, but a lot of us don't believe it. Like one thing I'd like to bring up is, have you heard of the guy Roger Bannister?
I haven't, no.
He was the guy the first guy to run a mile in like under, I want to say, whatever the record is now.
Yeah.
I want to say like 3 minutes or something. But before he did that, scientists and researchers were telling you it's impossible. Your heart would explode. If you were ever to run a mile, your heart would explode. It's not possible.
Yeah.
This one guy did it, and now they have all these high schoolers, track and field players, runners, doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like, who was it? Like, just because it hasn't been done yet doesn't mean it's impossible.
Yeah.
And this one guy did it because he did not believe what those researchers were saying. I believe a lot of us could do incredible things, man.
Yeah.
And the things that they say in the Bible, who says that we can't do it? You know, when they talk about chi and putting stuff, I mean, chi's not in the Bible, but like setting things on fire, we just haven't unlocked it. Like, who knows to say, like, I can touch this and set it on fire, but I don't know how to yet.
Yeah. I definitely would like, there should be way more curiosity in the human mind.
Yeah.
I think we're all, and again, like I wish that there was more time to explore this kind of stuff.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Our society, I mean, basically it's just like what the priorities are.
Yeah.
It seems like money whether or not you want it to be your priority rules almost everything.
Yeah.
Because money is either, used for security or
Yeah.
for filling some kind of void. And everyone wants security and everyone wants that stuff, but the way we have to work to get money nowadays for your average person is outrageous.
And it's crazy because you could be an outstanding worker, work your ass off, but that person that works that many hours is not going to be a millionaire.
Exactly.
Unless they invested or do something, but you working alone for somebody is not what's going to get you there.
Exactly. So. This whole thing has made me realize about the conventional wisdom of success.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of horrible how we're held down.
Yeah.
I really, because not only did I want that from teaching, I didn't believe that I was worth more than that. Wow. I thought I've always felt even if I want to dream bigger, I want to be a writer, right? Yeah. Who wouldn't want to do something?
Yeah, exactly.
I like writing. But I've always held myself
like fictional
back.
Novels or
Fictional novels, real literature,
Yeah.
But I've always it's like I said somewhere to myself, you are a worker, right? This is what you have to, and it's not like I knew I was saying this.
Yeah.
It was always framed as silly to go for your real dreams. You're supposed to get a dream job, which is fits within this box of what's acceptable.
Yeah, man. Everybody has a plan A, but they do everything besides plan A.
Yeah.
Plan B to Z. Fuck plan A. It's crazy to me, man.
Yeah.
Doug, I don't know if you noticed, but I have 15 books.
Yeah.
I'm working on 16 and 17. Man, if you want to write, you can do it, dog.
Yeah.
Seriously, man. If you, it's a lot easier because I was scared to do it at first because I was like, fuck. I was like, how do I go through this process, man? I YouTubed it, and the videos are literally all short videos. And Amazon, you could publish it, copyright, and all that stuff, man. It's all about the time, man. One thing I know, which I talk about this all the time, and it just sucks how when it comes to work, say the average person works 8 hours a week, 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's already 1/3 out of your day.
Yeah.
A lot of people are drained after that. They just want to come home. They don't want to do anything. But I've learned, man, I wake up super early. I wake up at 3:19 every day, work on my shit, then I go to work. Because my new job now is 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
But I'm it pays good, but man, nobody you're a teacher, you know this, but when you're asked in elementary, what is it that you want to be when you grow up? I don't know anybody that told me, I want to work for the rest of my life for somebody else.
Yeah.
Nobody fucking says that, So the thing that I do is I like my job, I appreciate it, but I have dreams, man, and I will wake up and sacrifice some sleep in order to get it done, man.
Yeah.
Because I see some people. There's this one guy that just came to my job. He was working at McCall's. Do you know what the McCall pattern company is?
Yeah.
That place is monumental, not just in Manhattan, but the United States. They're closing it down in Manhattan, and this guy's been there for 46 years.
Yeah.
He's starting over from ground one. After being at a job for that long, it's gonna be difficult to find a job that's gonna match your pay from what you like.
Yeah.
And when I lost my job at Ag Press because they had a major shutdown, was there for 10 years, and I realized, man, I was like, I worked there for 10 years, but starting over somewhere else, it just opened my eyes, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot more than what we can do, and a lot of us are conditioned to, because there's a lot of teachers I know that told us, the American dream is going to school, going to college, graduating, white picket fence, nice house.
Yeah.
Man, you realize after fucking high school it's not like that.
Because
they don't tell you about, okay, after high school, and even if you do go to college, you're gonna meet your sweetheart, you're gonna have kids with her, oh, you might cheat on her, she might cheat on you, you might get divorced, you gotta pay alimony, you gotta pay child support, and all this other, they don't tell you that, man. But, it's just, honestly, man, I honestly believe we are severely suppressed.
Oh, yeah.
With how great we can be. If we could create cell phones that we think are the greatest things, it's our mind that did that.
Yeah.
Our mind created these cell phones, man, or a book, or whatever, a college, any mindset, a car.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Well, I think too, it's if the majority of the motivation was human well-being, then sure we could have that almost overnight. But our motivation is money.
Yeah.
And not maybe me or you specifically, but the whole system. I mean, that's, you know.
You need it to survive, basically.
Is why the education system doesn't work is because it's money motivated, not like well-being, because like they're not, the state is just like, we're only gonna give so much to this because we can't lose money on this, when it's like, we should not have the idea that education is a money-losing thing.
So, what do you think? Do you think that the difference between public school kids and private school kids is the fact that their parents have money, they have these nice neighborhoods they live in, so they have more things to be like, okay, it is possible?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I mean, 1-to-1.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, even in some scenario where like a kid from an abusive background goes to one of these private schools, he's gonna get way more attention, support, and like stuff like that, you know? I mean, I would wanna help all my students, but there's just so many kids who fall through the cracks. Because, you know, I mean, when I'm sitting there as one person teaching a class of 29 kids, what am I gonna do? How is every one of those kids gonna get a proper education this year, you know?
Yeah.
So.
With, would you say that some of the schools kind of conform the kids to all think and be the same when there's so many different individuals and personalities in the one classroom? Like, we all have to think the same here?
I mean, kind of, you don't necessarily have to like think the same, you know, but you definitely have to, you must behave the same.
Okay.
You know, and again, I don't see how you wouldn't do it another way.
Yeah.
You gotta hold people to an expectation for things to function.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I would definitely say that like the things we teach kids are not, I like the curriculum, I'll say that. I don't think there's anything wrong with what we teach in school. I think the problem is like how it's being taught.
Yeah.
And like the, you know, the equity and all that stuff.
Okay.
And yeah, you know, honestly, I do feel kind of silly telling every student to go to college. I want to tell them like, think about going to college, know what you want to do, make sure you don't waste your money. Like, yes, go to college because, you know, unless you've got a good in, you know exactly what you're going to do to carve out a living for yourself. Like, you should, you know, a bachelor's degree at least, even an associate's has a lot of buying power. But I would always say, like, don't just jump in. Like, know what you're going to do, because this is going to cost you a lot of money.
I mean, it's true, and it's crazy because I know, like, right after high school, you literally have to make that decision. Or right your senior year, maybe your junior year, you make that decision to go into college right after high school. And I know some people that have changed their degrees and their majors a bunch of times. I know some people that have the degrees that don't use it.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, man, like, looking back, knowing what I know now, because I have my degree in business administration, knowing what I know now, man, I probably wouldn't have went to college, to be honest with you, because you don't need a college degree to open a business.
Yeah.
All you really need is like business sense and money, but like basically the money that I'm going to have to be paying back now, I could have put into a business.
Oh yeah.
And it fucking sucks thinking about it now, man. Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you some more questions.
Okay, I gotta cut you off again. I drank a Monster.
Yeah, you're good.
So I already have to go.
You're good, man. You're good.
I had a Monster that I'm almost through 2 waters.
Yeah, man, I know. I like to have long podcasts. My bad.
I hydrate.
I don't blame you. All right. He'll be back. That's his second piss break. So yeah, I make sure that I like long podcasts because I don't know when's the next time I'm gonna see this guy, basically. But yeah, man, I want to thank everybody for showing up, watching it. I'll try to get to the question. Somebody got a question. What is that? What is the topic? Oh, what's up, Tiger Spirit? The topic is basically he's from Idaho. He came out here to Kansas. He's a teacher, and we're talking about like the school systems, his perception of what he thought about Kansas. What else? Diversity, culture. The shock, and basically, he was a student. No, he was a teacher in Topeka, and he was telling me like, man, some of the school systems out there, some of the schools that he was working at, is like some things that I never knew that was in Kansas, especially like Topeka, basically. But the school that he was working for, like he said that there was rain coming through the roof, the ceiling and whatnot, old textbooks, a lack of school funding. Like you wouldn't think of some stuff like that in Topeka. Like I know Topeka has some bad spots, but like, come on, the Topeka Board of Education case happened out there. You would think they'd have better school systems. But yeah, we're talking about that, spirituality, and I'm gonna hit him with all types of like random questions too. But like I just wanna, learn more about what his mindset is, because learning more, hearing him talk about Kansas when he's all the way from basically the west side, the west part of the country, which is Idaho and Utah. He's opening my mind on perceptions and things about Kansas that maybe I never really thought about, kind of ingrained. So, yeah. All right, he's back.
All right.
Yeah, man. When you were talking, I saw you like move like that.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask you, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what's your favorite movies, man? Favorite kind of movies?
Favorite movies. I really liked Dune recently.
What's that?
Dune.
Why does that sound familiar?
Well, because it's a really Frank Herbert novel, huge book,
Okay.
one of the best books I've ever read.
Was this on Netflix or something?
That was on HBO Max.
Oh,
It came out in theaters.
Okay.
Really good. But no, my favorite movies are The Lord of the Rings. All three of them. I just count them as one big movie.
Yeah.
Forrest Gump. There Will Be Blood. The Lighthouse. I like artsy movies,
Yeah.
mostly artsy or fantasy or sci. That's what I'm into. Like,
Okay.
For example, like I don't technically think a lot of the Marvel movies are good movies. I got a lot of opinions. I have an English degree. I studied analyzing this stuff, but I still like them because they're fantastical. I like that.
So, damn, now that you brought up Marvel, okay, you brought up Lord of the Rings, man. I just, for Christmas, just got like a case of like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
Yeah.
Man, I'm obsessed with reading, man. Like when I was younger, I would read so much, and then when I got older, I kind of broke out of it. But now I'm loving it more. Like I'd rather read a book and just build my imagination, thinking about these characters and what these places are like, other than watching TV, But yeah, so, okay, your favorite movies, you explained that. Speaking of the Marvels and superheroes, man, I was gonna ask you, what is a superpower that you would like to have?
Dude, so I've thought about this so often.
Oh shit, great minds think alike.
Ever since I was a little kid,
Yeah.
I was thinking about what exact superpower I would want.
Yeah.
And I don't know, do you get multiple? It's so hard.
Yeah, man, whatever.
Invisibility, that's just like, I've thought about that one. I'm like, probably not. You'd have to get completely naked to get invisible, right? And then you're not like phasing through walls, so you still gotta like, I don't know, so that's not. I mean, flying would just be cool.
Yeah.
But then how do you grapple with like the superpower that's not going to draw attention because the government will to experiment on you or whatever?
True.
Like if you're just flying around, the government will guaranteed like
you'll be
kill you.
Yeah, you got to hide out with Professor X.
Yeah, right. So I don't know, probably just invincibility.
Yeah.
Invincibility, super strength. And I would mostly use it for silly reasons.
Yeah.
Like I would just shock people with things, right?
Yeah. I know, that's a good one actually. What are your rituals and hobbies? I know you mentioned earlier, meditating and listening to like spiritual things.
Yeah. Other than that,
is that like a daily process that you do that? Like on the
usually,
okay.
I don't have a set time or anything, but yeah, usually daily somewhere in there. Again, I'm a pretty good home cook.
Okay.
I helped make a really good Thanksgiving dinner. So.
Okay.
It's a home cooking. I love video games, all about them.
What kind of video games?
Oh, tons of them. A lot of it now, it's just like, now I play single player games because I have a family.
Yeah.
I can't keep up with because I cannot go play a multiplayer game.
Oh,
I'm just gonna get trashed.
You talking about like online?
Yeah, because I don't have the time. I'll carve out like 2 hours a week somewhere in there to play video games, and I'm not gonna spend it just having some middle schooler just destroy me online.
It might be one of your students.
It probably is, because apparently they're staying up till 3 in the morning on a school day.
Oh damn! This was a week off too, right? The students just had a week off, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, are you an Xbox guy or?
I like PlayStation, Nintendo,
okay,
PC.
cool, yeah,
I used to have an Xbox.
I picked Sony over Microsoft.
Yeah, me too. I'm that way.
Man, when it comes to like video games, man, I love. I just got back into Wolfenstein last year. Wolfenstein, I like that. God of War.
Oh yeah.
I haven't played Metal Gear Solid yet, but I got like the fourth one.
Yeah.
But it's hard, just like with you said, man. Doug, like the last time I played Wolfenstein, before that was a year ago.
Yeah.
Like it's hard for me to find the time because I'm either writing or I'm working out, and it's like fuck. But like whenever, like I had a 4-day weekend, and I decided to read the rest of this Bible. Well, it's not like a Bible, but like it's like discovering who God is. I decided to finish that instead of playing video games. But yeah, man, it's hard for me to play video games, man.
Yeah.
And I never thought I would never stop playing video games. In high school, man, I played a lot.
Oh yeah.
What are songs and movies that you like that make you cry also?
Oh man. So if I want to cry, because growing up the way I did, you grow up emotionally stunted. So
Oh, yeah.
I need motivation to cry.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I can't just do it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So, have you ever seen that movie Warrior? It's about the two brothers who are like fighting in the UFC against each other.
Yeah,
Dude, there's that ending scene that just like makes me go every day.
Was it the Buff brother that broke his arm or something?
Yeah,
yes.
It's got that song.
Yeah, man.
Oh my god.
I forgot about that movie. That movie was good though. And it came out at the perfect time because that's when like UFC was at the height of it.
Yeah.
You know, I love that stuff, man. Are you a fan of UFC? Or
No, I mean, if I was gonna watch a sport, I've seen it.
Okay. Are you into boxing or any sports like that? Or?
I'm not really a sports guy.
Oh,
I used to be a swimmer.
Oh wow. So Phelps is your hero?
Not really. I never identified with sports stars. I was never a buff kid. I was always a fat kid.
Oh.
I never saw myself in any of the athletes.
Yeah.
It was hard to. So, plus, I don't know. I didn't have a good experience with sports because all my sports were, local.
Oh.
Everyone was Mormon, and
Are Mormons athletic?
well, they were just. I was always fairly athletic, even when I was fat. It's just that they all go to the same churches, and I didn't go, and so like I inevitably always play outfield or whatever we're doing because everyone else knew each other, and all the dads and coaches knew each other, and I was just some kid.
Yeah.
So I didn't really like sports.
Oh wow.
It's only until like being an adult that I like,
So you've never been to a K-State game, even when you went to K-State?
No,
Never
not once.
Okay, damn.
I've never been to a football game. Been to like 1 or 2 baseball games.
K-State baseball?
No, this was in Idaho. It was a minor league.
Do you miss Idaho at all?
Yeah, I'm going back.
Serious? You're moving back?
Yeah, moving back.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Damn, did not know that.
But I miss it for my friends and my family.
Okay, yeah.
And the environment. The town itself is like not great. But
Wow. So you moved back to the same town or like?
Yeah.
Wow. Is your wife from Idaho or?
She's from Minnesota.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
We met in AA.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Minnesota is cold as fuck.
Is super. So is Idaho though. Same.
Seriously? Oh wow.
Yeah, it's
okay.
basically the same temperature.
Okay, man. What is a song that makes you cry?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the songs. So it used to, not anymore, but the song Angie by the Rolling Stones.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like this mournful song about losing this lady. I don't know, I get teared up about songs a lot recently.
Yeah.
Just random ones that'll come on.
Yeah.
I feel like they're speaking to my soul.
Oh yeah. It's the best, man. Yeah.
But I'll tell you this, I identify with any song that is like a folk song about some guy who just can't help from doing wrong.
Yeah.
That's usually it, some like rambling man song.
Yeah.
So.
What's something you always wanted to be when you were younger?
So it's funny, I always did want to be a teacher.
Seriously?
Even when I was young, I did. But the funnier one was I wanted to be a paleontologist.
Wow.
I was like a first, second grader who would tell everyone I want to be a paleontologist when I grow up. Because I love dinosaurs.
That is fucking funny.
I now know what being a paleontologist would entail, and that does not sound like the job for me.
Well, it's funny because like besides Dragon Ball Z, like I was obsessed with dinosaurs too.
Yeah.
I think a lot of little boys are, but when I would watch Jurassic Park, I wanted to be like the scientist in the movie to bring the dinosaurs back.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be a paleontologist / scientist, but that's crazy. So what does you said like what does it entail now? Like what all does it take? What all do you got to do to be a paleontologist?
I don't know. I mean, I just look at what they do, and it's just like, you know, you got to get like a doctorate, and then you just go and uncover bones in a site.
Are they literally brushing it?
I mean, they do that. I've seen it, you know, because I got really into studying. I mean, they have to delicately extract all the. It takes months. And it's just a lot of research. I like creativity in my job.
How do they know where the bones are at?
I have no idea.
And
I didn't get that
okay,
far.
Okay. Because I always wondered that. I'm like, man, I've never seen a fossil. Like, never like that.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know where they decide.
Dang.
It's probably where they got to get such advanced degrees.
Yeah.
It's a lot to know. You know.
That would suck to go through like 8 to 12 years of schooling and realize that this isn't what I want to do, man. Like, what would be surprised about you?
A surprise?
Yeah.
I don't know. People are always surprised by my past because I've talked about it, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I think people have a lot of expectations on others, and I generally present as a like, you know, regular dude.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like, just so I think a lot of people, especially when they know my profession, would be surprised to know that like I have had severe drug and alcohol issues.
I think that makes for a great teacher though. To be honest with you, like, or a great person, and because you've been through that, so you know it's like you can't just be one of those people that are so judgmental that I've never been through it, so they can't really tell you anything about it, you know. So
other than that, I don't know what would be weird about me. The weird thing, when I learned I could bake, I'm a pretty good baker. I would be surprised about that. It's not something I really wanted. I just like gave it a whirl, and I just have like a natural talent for baking.
Yeah.
I don't even like to do it really, but I'm just good at it when I do. So that's something. I don't know what else would be surprising about me other than since I live in Kansas, my politics are pretty surprising to people.
Okay. Yeah.
So stuff like that.
What,
you know.
Trump 2024?
No. Oh God.
What
I think Biden is too conservative.
Oh man, I could go on, man. Just from what I heard about this guy back in the 70s and 80s, man, that guy, I'd rather, that guy, man. I heard he has a pretty racist past, but.
Dude, I mean, he does.
Yeah.
That's
but
why,
then again, a lot of those presidents do, so.
that's like what it comes down to, like, you know, you gotta vote for someone or don't. But I just felt like, I mean, I voted for Biden, but it really was only because I felt Trump was so bad.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only reason. I don't think Biden's gonna. I don't know, politics are dumb.
Yeah. I think it was funny that he basically got on air. It was like, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. And then he just makes a whole stop Asian crime, Asian hate thing. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, man, that's crazy. Okay, so I like the fact that you like to write. So if you were to write, what would it be about?
I would write something along the lines of what you have to read in school for a literature class. I want to write some fictional story about, you know, big themes and use all my characters basically as analogies. You know, I'm inspired by things like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, where all your characters are more or less representations of ideas rather than primarily being developing characters. But I would just write, you know, some cool fantasy or sci-fi novel that delves into you know, philosophical topics.
So the stuff that you teach, is there like, and this might be a dumb question, but like, it's the same stuff that's taught each year, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So.
Well, kind of.
So is it basically like, if you were to go in a classroom and you wanted to teach kids differently, like the way that if there was certain, you wouldn't be able to do that, would you? Like, what is it, like a syllabus or something? That
it depends on what you're teaching, really. It's kind of all over. If you're teaching a core class, you have to be, I don't know, it's kind of complicated. You have to like meet the state standards, and then you have to meet what your district and your building want you to do. So it's kind of like that. You don't have a ton of freedom. If you teach like an elective, you get a lot more.
Yeah.
But
I've heard like, cause in 2020 I was doing all this research, man, cause I had like 8 months off of work. But like, basically I was one of the videos I came across, they were saying that like with all of, basically there's like a board that only allows certain books to go through our schools. Like there's so many books, but this board has to okay, and be like, okay.
yeah,
That's weird, man.
it is.
I feel like that's like I feel like there's an agenda with that, man, to be honest with you, man. And, I feel like there's a lot of things about the school system. Now that I'm older, I wish I had the insight to ask a teacher back then, because I just like the whole American dream and the process of that is like, dang, but I wish I would have asked my teacher, like, are you still paying, college debt?
Yeah.
Like, you're telling us to go to college, but are you still paying college debt?
Yeah.
Just things like that, like, and I don't know, man, just, yeah.
Yeah. People need nuance. You got to be like, yes, go to college when you decide what you want to do.
Yeah.
When you've looked into what that degree can actually do for you. Because if you don't like what you do, can your degree transfer over to other things you might want to do? There's a lot to consider.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I know it just sucks because it's like, there's a lot of influences out there for kids, whether they're in home, well, outside of home at school, hanging out with friends, and it's like, you're being taught more at school. Like the influences for a kid, for anybody's child, is basically overpowered from what they're being taught at home. Yeah. Like, and that's just kind of scary, but yeah.
I guess I would say that, like, at least my experience, like, overpowering what they're being taught at home is like, that's, even if people wanted to do that, that'd be a really hard task.
Yeah.
A lot of the behavior issues come from what they're experiencing at home.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of kids, especially with how political kids are now. Yeah. I know we always say everything's political. Yeah. It's political, but I will definitely say kids are way more politically motivated than like when I was in school.
Oh yeah.
It's anecdotal, but yeah. So.
I mean, it could be a lot because our smartphones, bro. Yeah. Man, it's just crazy, like, because I know, like, back when I was in school, like, going to the library was it was kind of fun, to be honest with you. Yeah. Because you had to go through, but it was kind of a hassle, think about it at the same time too, because you had to literally flip through the pages and then outline things and then paraphrase it, but now everybody can just literally do everything off their phone. Yeah. And I was just watching the movie Idiocracy 2-3 days ago. Have you seen that movie? Yeah. And it's like, dang, man, it's funny now. No, it was funny when I first saw it, but now it's like, I feel like this is where we're at. Because, like, and I like to bring up this analogy, but like when I was in high school, I can remember at least seven of my friends' cell phone numbers off the top of my head. Now, probably 2 or 3 people's phone numbers.
Well, hey, I'm an English teacher who can't spell that well.
Oh, wow.
Because I have spell check.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I mean, I've been using spell check since, 2000? Yeah. I mean, spell check's been around forever. Yeah. And so, like, you don't really learn to. Damn. I'll say this: I can probably spell better than the average person, but like my spelling is not where it should be. Wow. Right? Because you don't need it. Because if you get close enough to the word. Yeah. And I had this one conversation with one of the guys in my last job. I was telling him, I was like, no, nobody really speaks proper English now. Yeah. Nobody really does. Like, you can, even if you try, like, everything is just so intertwined now, and like some people it's just different. I don't know how to explain it, but a lot of stuff has changed, man. And that movie Idiocracy really makes me really think about, like, we really kind of are headed down that because we don't use our minds as much when we have our smartphone do a bunch of the shit for us, Well, another thing too is people get fooled in the thinking they're using their minds. Oh yeah. People who believe in flat Earth, QAnon, like all these like wild things going on. They think they're being intelligent because they're getting the proper news and they're the educated ones, and they don't realize that, like, I mean, they're being sold lies, and so, it's. I always thought like Idiocracy was obviously too far, or things like, for example, I don't think South Park is funny anymore. Oh, okay. What are you gonna parody with South Park? Yeah. Like when you have, politicians saying the most outlandish
Yeah.
things. How do you parry it
Yeah.
anymore? You know?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, man. There's just a lot of things that is just. I thought it was humorous, but now you're really seeing it. And I believe that Hollywood drops a lot of hints, man. To be honest with you, like the movie Hunger Games, I think the movie The Purge, just things like that. Idiocracy, all these. What's the word I'm looking for? Like Generation Z movies. Like I believe that a lot of this, like, and then we have the InBev Center in Manhattan too.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody was, because I don't know if you know much history about the InBev Center, but it used to be in New York.
Mm-hmm.
It was Plum Island. It was on Plum Island, but it was called some kind of bio research. And then I remember a lot of people called me a conspiracy theorist because I agree with Jesse Ventura when he had the TV show. But they got rid of Plum Island on New York. Basically, they had to shut it down. They can't destroy it because of all the hazardous chemicals and shit.
Yeah.
But they brought it to the Tornado Valley, the middle of the map, and then they want to do all this research and shit. Like who? And then when because I was going to MATC for biotech engineering before I decided to switch my degree over to business administration, and my student advisor told me that there is no 100% way that we cannot prevent some of those diseases from leaving the lab.
Yeah.
Even with the hazmat suit, you can't. Like some of that, you're breathing. You still have to breathe still.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, watch some outbreak happen here or something. But yeah. Ugh. And it seems like every 10 to 20 years, there's always something to break out. Like I remember, you're old enough to remember this, but Y2K, when they thought the whole computer crash and all this stuff, the end of the world.
I remember that.
And then anthrax after 9/11, and then swine flu, and then they had, what was that one thing that was even more deadlier than corona?
Bird flu, E. coli.
SARS.
SARS.
But what was that other one that, it was the disease that they were saying was happening in Africa?
Malaria? There's
It wasn't malaria, it was some other thing, but basically you would drop dead if you got it.
Yeah.
Was it? I don't think it was malaria, man.
I don't remember. I think malaria has probably been an ongoing.
Yeah, I forgot what it was, but like, and it's like, man, and now we have corona. We're gonna get past this, and then another 10 to 20 years, there's gonna be something even worse. It's like, yeah, man, just crazy shit, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm unfortunately, I'm not really hopeful about the future. I'm hopeful for like, at least not the immediate future.
Yeah.
I truly believe even now that like, if people wanted to, if we came together, problems like climate change and inequities in class and race and stuff like that could be solved pretty easily.
Yeah.
Humans are amazing with that.
Yeah.
But we just don't. And so like, I think we're gonna still keep seeing things like, you know, like this great resignation going on.
Yeah.
I say bring it on, man. I say don't work at the McDonald's. Like, wait until, it would be great if everyone was just like, you gotta pay us more. And provide more of a life. You know, you can't.
But when they do that, that's gonna cause inflation too. But I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you brought that up because I think about things like back when, I wouldn't say when we were younger, but maybe like even 5 years ago, man. Like McDonald's didn't have all these things that you could walk into and you could order by just touching the board.
Yeah.
You had to literally talk to somebody. And then people were talking about like unemployment. It's like, are we blind to realize like, yeah, unemployment's gonna go up, but technology has a lot to do with that. Technology is taking 5 to 10 people's job at once. So of course unemployment's gonna go up. But I don't think a lot of people question that or realize that, you know?
Well, and people don't account for underemployed people.
Oh yeah.
Like sure, we may have a pretty low unemployment rate generally.
Yeah.
But like underemployed, like how many of those people are like making it? How many of them are working one job that provides for all their bills? Like often very little, you know, like there's like but that number is a lot bigger.
Have you seen the movie In Time? With Justin Timberlake? Oh man, I watched that last night, man, it was so good. Like just to rewatch it, but like basically in the movie, they have like these numbers on them and it tells like the time, how much time they have to live. And the rich people have like 100 years, maybe even a century, well, a century is 100 years. But all this time, and it's like all the people that were in the ghetto, they're basically living day to day, 24 hours, and they were dying and dropping dead and everything. Man, it was just really makes you open your eyes to like I know it's like an analogy, but like there's just a lot of things going on that a lot of people aren't really opening their eyes to. Yeah. And things that gradually happen, I think they gradually conform us to not think that, oh, this shit is crazy. Like Terminator and Skylink, like fucking Elon Musk is talking about putting, we're so, this movie came out in the 80s, Terminator, and now we're slowly getting there.
Yeah.
And I think that, like I said, Hollywood drops hints, man. The Matrix, now they're coming out with a new Matrix movie. Man, it's just crazy.
Yeah. I guess for me, I kind of always just go back to kind of the banality of evil. I tend to not think about, there's some conspiracies I probably subscribe to, especially the ones that have been proven.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theories happen, but the bigger ones, mostly because I used to be all into, I believe the whole nine, right?
Yeah.
9/11 inside job, I thought there was reptile people,
Are there?
aliens, we
don't know.
because that's true, right? But
it sounds crazy, but
I guess what I see nowadays more, I lean towards more things are a lot more, again, banal. It's not so much like these, groups of insidious people. It's literally just a lot of people making the decisions to further themselves at the expense of everyone else. And that's what, I think that's usually what it is.
Yeah.
It's just straight up it's just people not really caring. It's not an evil man at the top. It's the decisions of a bunch of different people are well, if I don't do it, someone else will,
Could be, man, but I think the media plays a lot to do with people's thinking, to be honest with you.
I absolutely believe we got a lot of heavy propaganda.
I think that algorithms goes a lot deeper than just internet. I think that it's controlling a lot of people, man. Oh man, I refuse to watch Tiger King because everybody on my friends list was talking about watching Tiger King.
Yeah.
Tiger King. Now this what's the Squid Game? I refuse, man. It's oh man, who's to say this is number one? Who's to know that Netflix isn't just this might be a good movie. We'll just say that this is number one. You see that number one right there, and then it influences everybody to see okay, what's everybody talking about? Let's watch this. That's what makes it number one.
Yeah.
What are their conditioning? I just think about stuff like that, who's to say? And with the whole flat Earth thing, I don't know if I believe if planet Earth is flat, but who's to say it's not?
Yeah.
That's the way I I don't know, I think about a lot of stuff like that. I love the analogy of how are we to know what space looks like, personally?
Yeah.
When we haven't been out there ourselves. We're going off of what a researcher is saying. Just like a researcher was saying, it's impossible to run a mile in under 3 minutes.
Yeah. I guess where I go with those things is I always think about motivation and the ability to keep something secret. Right? Keeping the earth round, that would just require, or trying to convince people the earth is round would require way too many people to be in the know.
Yeah.
And then also I think with that, for what purpose? How are we being controlled or manipulated? What are they using it for? So that's why I don't get that one, right? What would knowing the earth being flat, or what's the point of that conspiracy?
True.
Right? That's what I usually try to think of.
I know some people that said that we're probably more divided as people than we ever were. Because there's so many organizations that nowadays, cancel culture, you can't say one fucking thing. I mean, I understand that some people have ignorant mindsets, but some people also have the freedom of speech, man. And I feel like if you're not allowed to say what you want, it's just weird to me, to be honest with you. There's a certain respect level, but at the same time, it's I thought that in this country we had the freedom of speech.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, division is the moneymaker, right?
Yeah.
And they've shown that Facebook and a lot of these other companies, they're intentionally promoting divisive, blatant things because things they blow up. So there's more engagement to have us angry,
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're so divided, because there's money to be made in dividing us,
Yeah, for real.
And think about all the grifters who capitalize on that, and yeah.
I want to leave on this note because I know that we could talk here forever.
Yeah.
But so speaking of if there's somebody up top making these decisions, when it comes to the motivational videos, they talk about I think only 1% of the world is living out their dreams and doing what they want to do, or some number like that. To me, that's ridiculous, man. Everybody has dreams, but only 1% of the world is doing it. What is it that has broken people's mindset to not want to go through and carry through the things? I know that we all have challenges, but when do we start all using it as an excuse? Some people I know that have kids, man, completely gave up on what they wanted to do. But then yet you want to teach your kids, you want to tell your kids, you can be anything you want to be. But if I was a kid, I'd be like, why aren't you doing that, Dad? You know, or why aren't you doing that? But like, what is it that, why is only 1% of the world carrying on through with the things that they want to do? Like, that's sad to me.
It's like, I mean, I think there's so many different reasons why, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I think like the, hierarchies and everything that we have going on, obviously just opportunity, right?
Yeah.
There's some conditions you're born into where going after your dreams, while not impossible, is like so severely limited, right?
Yeah.
But I will also say, like, too, what I've been finding too, because I'm coming to grips with this now.
Yeah.
I'm not, I am not someone who's made it on the other side and
Yeah.
is living their dreams, right? And it really is like, at a certain point, growing up and becoming an adult, and then like, I think about too, the adult you become from 20 to 30, and what it's going to be like 30 to 40.
Yeah,
right? Just realizing how many lies, mistruths, or just well-intentioned but bad advice that you get from your culture. It's like really hard to get away from.
You're right. Yeah.
Like I've been held back by what I want to do because I didn't even know what I wanted. There's a lot of things at least I didn't realize weren't my wants, they were someone else's wants.
Yeah.
So focused on becoming what I wanted to be that I didn't realize that like half of what I wanted to be was what my mom and my grandmother wanted me to be. Or like my church wanted me to be, or doing what I actually knowing yourself, because I still don't fully know all my motivations.
Yeah.
I think so many people are held back because knowing yourself is an extremely difficult task.
Oh yeah, it's scary too. A lot of people run from themselves. A lot of people really do, man. That's why they hate to hear the truth about themselves too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things like, for example, like working out. I like to nominally work out, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to be one of those people. I wanted my dream to be someone who works out a bunch, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what I've been sold an idea of what I'm supposed to look like and stuff like that, right? And what I realized is just like, if I'm honest with myself, I don't like doing that.
No.
I only like doing it sometimes, and like, so, it's like I'm sitting here torturing myself over this idea of something that I want to be because it's standards that has been imprinted on me. And I just have to be honest and be like, this season of life, not too much into it. Next season, maybe.
Yeah.
Or even the ones where you try to reject something, right? Like I should like less video games.
Oh
time, and I just gotta be honest. I like playing them.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that, man. I know. I'm to the point where if I take more than 2 days of not working out, my body goes through withdrawal.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. Like I guess working out's my addiction, but like my body feels so off and weird. Like I had a 4-day weekend and I took 4 days off because I felt like I needed it. But after that second day, I was like, man, I don't feel good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I imagine there's stuff in your life was the same with working out for me, right? Where it's you have to. There's some kind of thing you wanted to accomplish, but it wasn't really your motivation.
I mean, yeah. Right now, I think, man, I'm like, man, my mindset is a double-edged sword, man. There's so many things, whatever I want to do, I do it, but then I wish that I had more time to relax. Because it bothers me if I don't do it. And if I don't do it, I'm beating myself up. I'm in a fucked up mood. But, so, I don't know if that's like a gift. It's probably a gift and a curse, man. But, yeah, I just have to do it, man. Like, I obsess over all these things because I know I'm going to die. And it's crazy. Like, I know, like, that's one thing I have to set into place. I obsess over getting everything done in my lifetime. It might happen, it might not, but like I just want to set a good example for generations to come, man. Like we know we're all gonna die, but yet we live as if we have infinite time.
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna die. It's scary to say it, but I've seen people die before me, and I know we all know it's gonna happen. So why aren't we taking our life serious? That's what I look at.
Yeah.
So it's a little crazy, but yeah.
No, I feel that. That's cool.
You want to talk about anything else, or you want to Want to cut the cameras?
I'm good.
All right, cool.
I'm gonna get back to the family.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. Yeah, we probably stayed a little bit longer than an hour and a half. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, let me. We have to cut all these off now.
Sure. Yeah, it was a good chat,
Yeah,
man.
most definitely, man. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no problem.
When are you moving back to
Probably the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll find somebody else?
I don't know.
Until then, appreciate everybody for watching. About to cut the camera. Until next time.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Well, hey man, I'm gonna get going.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, you're good.
Thanks.
And, hey, it's good seeing you, man. I
Good
appreciate
seeing
you. Are they outside waiting for you, or are you driving back?
Oh, I'm driving.
Oh, okay, okay.
I
Okay, cool.
skipped lunch.
Yeah, all right, man. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. Appreciate y'all for watching. I'm about to cut out though.